I go by the name Kala Dakuru Batabo, and this is Hard Facts. Yes, we're live on Facebook, live on YouTube, active on X. Use the handle for all three social media platforms, Nigeria Info PH. Now it's time to talk police in River State. We started this conversation sometime last week. Was it Wednesday? Was it Thursday? I cannot remember. But I do know that we started. We talked a couple of things. We talked about a couple of things, rather. We talked about, police on the road. We talked about the police force. We talked about how the community can come together and relate with the police. We talked about a couple of things I cannot remember. But over the weekend, we just immediately after the conversation that day, the next day, we saw a report from somewhere in Mile 2 related to a university in that area where the police foiled court-related attacks. Then we saw a story of someone being killed at the Ignatius University, right? And the police is on that. They're doing their investigations. And we saw the gruesome video of the killing of a chief in Obele community, right? And so I got thinking, yes, I need to invite my guests back into the studio, not to talk just about the police, but to talk about how we can have proper and effective policing in River State. And there's also an issue you and I discussed after the show last week, which has to do with how people can conduct to protect themselves against erring police officers who go about acting like one chances. We'll talk about all of that. But let me introduce my guest. He is a security consultant and he is a security expert as well. And he goes by the name Ambassador Bosinde Araikpe. It's good to have you on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So let's start with, I hope you have the numbers ready for us. You promised us some numbers last week.
Yes, I'm going to give you those
Okay,
numbers.
So in the course of the show, we would look at that. But let's look at what has happened in the past 4 or 5 days after you and I had a conversation, court-related clashes. I remember asking you on that day what you thought about the ranking where, we were ranked amongst the top when it comes to court-related or reported court-related activities. Ambassador Bosinde, what would you say about that?
Well, saying we are ranked among the River State, not River State as a state is ranked among the top states with regards to court-related activity. I don't know the yardstick of that
report. Yeah, okay.
Because I don't know if they are saying it's a top 1 or top 5 or top 10 or top 1.
Well, let's go with top.
Or top rank. Because when you say top, it has to be a yardstick. Because if you say your rank is a ranking of 1 million persons and top 100 persons, top 1,000 persons. So I don't know, is this ranking you're saying, the yardstick for this ranking is what we cannot say properly. Now, there is what they call official and unofficial crime. I'm talking with regards to the ranking. There is official and unofficial crime. Now, official crimes are those ones that make it to reports, police diary, crime diaries, and other places. But the unofficial activities that happen in Nigeria with regards to crime is most times more than the official crime. For example, there are a lot of cases people settle outside the police station, even that required police involvement. Yeah. For example, accident on the road. People choose to just settle outside police, treat the person and all of that. You understand? They only go to police when it becomes bigger. Ordinarily, those things should officially, whether you settle or not, police should be aware. Now, there are also other cases in Nigeria, even heinous crimes, kidnap issues that are not reported. You get in different parts of the country that are not being reported. There are so many unofficial crimes. In fact, it's funny to say that some crimes people think is even official, is unofficial. Sometimes the police themselves get the report of the crime on social media.
Oh, really? Really?
Yes, most times. And they are like, we don't have any official report of this crime. That's because the person may have chosen to go to social media to do their reporting.
Or the media.
Yeah, or the media. You understand me? And not done any maybe official entry in the closest division around them or something where the crime happened or around their environment. They've not done any of such. Most times they go. So when crimes are unofficial, maybe the ranking may not have gotten a hint of that. Now, those ones that are official that make it to the police diaries and all of that, I am not even sure that is how this ranking is done, because if you are to judge by what goes into the police diary and crime diary, you realize that Rivers State is relatively one of the safest states to be. top 10 in Nigeria, Rivers State should be making it to number 4.
What would you
three,
make of the spike in cult-related activities as reported? Now, 3 days ago, 2 cultists were arrested by the police. Arms were recovered. I told you that there was also the story where the police foiled cult-related fights in Job Access near. I want to believe it's near River State University. There was the one that happened at Ignatius where someone has been killed, and then there is a court-related activity in Obele once again in Emwa local government area.
Obele, for me, the Obele case is simple. It's an assassination.
Okay.
I think I have read what I can read about the report I see. I think the Obele case is more of an assassination because when you say a cult-related activity, you portray a kind of attack and rival attacks, But I think it's more like an assassination for me. It might be perpetrated by cultists because they have the guts to carry out such actions. But it must not necessarily be a cult rival culture or something. It may also be an individual fighting for supremacy or a set of persons fighting for supremacy. It's not necessarily cult-related activity per se with the definition of cult we work with here. Now, so that is it. That's one. So all the cases you have mentioned here, let me just tell you why these incidents make it to the news.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah.
They make it to the news because Rivers State is yet to discover a lot of potentials in the area of entertainment.
How do you mean?
Good. Let me give you an understanding now. Lagos has a higher level of daily crime than any other state in Nigeria. In fact, what happens in Lagos...
Do you have evidence
we can, if you give me time, I may come back here and then I bring, but there are some things I may not be privy to discuss on air, but I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Now, but let me just give you the ordinary one you understand now. Now, Lagos has more crime going on a daily basis than any part of the southern Nigeria. By south, I'm just saying not south now. Lagos has a very high level of crime rate. Now, but nobody gets to hear about them because the same day you have this kidnap in Lagos State, the same day Wizkid has a concert. And then Lagos State is a very wise state. They choose to promote this entertainment and their activities. And so the entertainment news tends to cover most of this news. Before issues in Lagos make it to the media, they have to go through social media most times because the mainstream media and even the social media is populated by the good news of the state, where the ambassadors of the state, who are entertainers living in that state, they make the state happen. There is a lot of activity, a lot of good news are in Lagos State. So where there are a lot of good news, it kills the bad news a lot. So you understand? So because of that now, unlike in Rivers State now, there is no news making the round. There is no news to channel attention. So because of that, if you slap somebody very well here, and I tell you to make the news, it will make the news. If you slap somebody very well, it will make the news. Some of the things you report as crime, you just know that it's because nothing there to talk. Because if there are things to say, you find out that those things wouldn't have been even noticed.
Can I come in?
Can I come in? This thing I'm telling you, is for those of us who are security, myself as a security relations consultant, I'm checking this now based on my own yardstick. That's what I'm talking to you about. So this is what I have seen. But however, in the case of these things you've just discussed, we are not in support of this. We also believe that most of this attack, even in the United States, you have situations where attacks like this occur.
Yeah,
you understand? So attacks like this, anywhere in the world, it will be difficult for police to counter it, except they have very strong intelligence-based organizations that actually do work and focus on intelligence gathering. You understand me?
I see. I was going to come to this, right? So, but before that was the question. That was supposed to be my follow. But you mentioned something. You said Lagos would rather focus on the good news. Are you saying the media in River State are not doing so well because they focus on reports like this? Let me understand.
No, the media will report any news available to them.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that the media do not have enough good news to report. That's what I'm saying.
Very, very hilarious. Very hilarious. But let's now go to my follow-up question. Okay. You've just said that the police can only tackle this based on quality information. Now, from the report that we have from Obele, the chief who was killed is believed to be someone who stands against cultism and, all forms of crime in that community. And he was gunned down. And I like to think that it probably would have been working with the police in that jurisdiction. where is the confidence the people, the communities would have, to be informant for the police, given that there is really no security for them, just like this chief?
Okay, well, basically, sincerely speaking, if we must look at these things very, very sincerely, I want you to know, number one, it's good for individuals to work with the police, assist them with information. Maybe I will also advise individuals on how to work with the police. A lot of individuals don't even know how to work with the police. So maybe if I have the time, I can advise on how people should work with the police. Now, every environment, the police is a replica of the citizens and all over the world. You see the UK, you don't hear of crime every day. Yet the police are not with guns on the streets, doing this. But of course, they have assault rifles in their boots, their trunk. Then in the US, where you see them having side guns, side arm, you see that the people always have side arm too to shoot out with them. Then in Nigeria, where they have AK, you see them people also. So if you're coming to rob, you plan. So where there are lesser exposure of arms in the street, there are lesser exposure of crime, because the criminal will have it in mind that I don't need SS. I'm not going to be over-resisted. So I don't need to over-get things to implicate me in case I'm caught. Let me know I'm not dying. But when there are SS preparation from the side of the government and the arms are everywhere, the criminal comes with equivalent or something higher.
Okay.
That's a criminal mindset. Now, with regards to the case of Nigeria now, number one, you should understand, working with the police, you study your environment, you understand the policing in your environment, and then you work accordingly. For example, if you want to give information to the police, I don't advise you just see a policeman and give him information. I advise that you give information only to very senior police officers, if possible, the head of that department. Number one, you have a division, a police division headed by the DPO. You have tactical team headed by the commanders. If you want to give information, I advise you locate the DPO. Insist on giving that information to the DPO. That's my personal advice. Why do I advise so? Because when the DPO is able to bust these crimes, it adds to their pedigree. And they would like to do it. You understand me? Because that division is under them. They want to be able to show their working. Same with the commanders in the tactical teams. But if it's just an officer on the road or any other officer you give, the idea that they may be able to guide that information and use it judicially without you being exposed is a bit thin, sincerely speaking. But if you give it to the head of the formation where you are, you will be sure that this man will be careful, because at any time it can be traced directly to him, because he's the head. You understand me? So it's easier, not just giving information to any policeman you see on the road or you strike a deal with them. No, this is not the US where an officer can strike a deal with you like we see in the movie. That is one. Then secondly, Nigeria do not have enough police officers to police the rural areas.
We would hold on to your secondly. Let's go for a quick commercial. When we come back, we'll talk some more about cult-related activities in River State and some more.
You are tuned in to
Nigeria Info.
All right, 28 minutes gone past 4. Yes, we're still looking at the hard facts here on 92.3 Nigeria Info. We're looking at policing in River State with all of the things that have been happening. I'm Kalada Kurubatu, and with me is a security relations consultant, Ambassador Bosinde Araikpe. It's good to have you on the show.
Always good to be here.
So you were trying to tell us what people can do when it comes to information gathering for the police, especially here in River State. Number one, you said report directly to the head, either the division, the divisional police officer, or that's the DPO, or the head of a tactical unit, depending on the tactical unit, I guess. What you were going to tell us, number two?
Okay. So that is it. I think I was going to say secondly. I already said the reporting angle. I was going to say secondly. So you asked me to hold my secondly. If you remember vividly. Now, these things I'm saying, I wanted to know that I'm speaking on my own accord as an individual.
Yeah.
It's very important.
That's why I keep harping on security relations.
Yes.
Consultant and expert.
Yes, that's why I'm doing that too. It's on individual capacity. However, secondly, I like the people to know that the Nigerian state does not have enough policemen to police the Nigerian people. That is the truth. You understand me? That is one. The UN has a basic requirement for policing, but outside of the UN, let's leave those. I don't know why I don't like using international yardstick to measure our local activities. You understand me? If you leave only me, I want us to go back to our old activities in before even the colonial people came. So now, since we do not have enough manpower to police the people, it's important for collaborations to come up. The people must learn for their own security to collaborate with the authorities. Now, why do they need to collaborate with the authority? Why not just do it alone? Why do you need the authority? You need the authority because when anything happens, they will not judge you by your own way. They will judge you by what the Constitution says based on your action.
Okay.
And he that comes to equity must come with clean hands.
Okay.
Aside of this, I would have said people should go about doing their things on their own and secure themselves. But I will not be able to tell you that because I know that if there are two fighting now and maybe an armed robber is attacking somebody and then the person overpowers the armed robber, and in the situation maybe he's trying to shoot the person and the person was able to maneuver and maybe even the gun just went off on his own. But unfortunately for the armed robber, it hit him and he dies. And then definitely the police will come into the scene and there is a gun and one person is dead. How do you explain that you were being robbed? Are you getting me?
Yeah.
So there is no way you are that murder. But
that's self-defense.
That's self-defense. Now you show proof now. You show witness, you show proof. Because as long as they are concerned, you kill that man with gun, or maybe you are even the armed robber. Because one, there is no proof to show that the man was attacking you. You understand me? There was a similar case and a judgment was given up to the Supreme Court of this country.
I remember that.
You remember a case of headsmen and all of that, where the man was able to maneuver people that are trying to kill him, and one of them paid his own ultimate price for what he was doing. And instead of the court to recognize that this man, you are even a hero, thank you, or we'll be looking for these people. Instead, there is a judgment for murder. Why? No witness. Do you know what they said? Why didn't you run when you overpowered them? Can you imagine? So that's the point. Now, what that says is that you can't rule out the government. Now, when that thing happened, nobody judged that man with the community standard. It has to be the constitutional standard, which may not be favorable to the man, just as it was not. So, that is why I cannot advise people to take law into their hands. But I insist and advise that every community in Rivers State should be part of their own security. And they should do that in collaboration with the Nigerian police force.
Now, let's take this conversation to the universities and, college, varsity, or should I say higher institutions. How do we form a community to police these institutions? Because like I said, some of the stories that have come out in the last few days are related to universities or high institutions. How do we police these places?
First of all, I want to thank God that what the Gen Z approach to higher institution is not like in those days of Uniben, Unical, Uniport, and
UST.
UST. You remember, you know what I'm saying now? It has happened several times here now. They will behead somebody and hang his head in Uniport.
Let's not go back to this.
I don't know if you understand me.
Let's not go
whatever
back to
you are
this.
seeing now in the university is a progress. It shows that
things have changed.
Yeah, things have really, really changed. You understand? So first of all, we have to thank God for the fact that these things have changed to this level. Secondly, you see, the university environment tend to be like a country of its own. Only they don't have their own currency and certain things of their own. But the university environment is an almost independent environment. In fact, the governor of the state, if it's a state university, is called the visitor. And then I think it's the president or the minister is called the visitor for federal universities. So you can imagine, if the governor is a visitor. So the point I'm just telling you is that these schools are semi-independent with regards to everything, even security-wise. But there is always police stations closer to these institutions. Just like I'm telling you, the school, the university environment is a community. So if I'm saying all communities in Rivers State should be involved in their own security, compulsorily involved in their security, and that they should do this in collaboration with the Nigerian police force. The university is a community. So it includes the university. I like to call on the vice chancellor of the university to please work with the divisional police officer close to them in any of these two universities. The two universities affected, I like to call on their vice chancellors to visit the closest police station close to them and tell the divisional police officer, this is our challenge. You are the police officer here. We want it settled, but we want to be involved in how it is settled and managed.
Okay.
So what do we do? I can assure you that depending on the peculiarity of the environment, depending on the peculiarity of the solution, the divisional police officer will be able to come up with solutions with them, solutions that they will accept, not the one the police will just come up. No, they will put their heads together, have a security meeting, the VC, his CSO, the DPO and his team, they will have a meeting and they will come up with a plan. And if the plan needs authorization from a high authority in the state, the DPO will go to the Commissioner of Police for permission. And I can assure you that the Commissioner of Police will grant that permission so long as it is for security. And when that is granted, the school should work with the police to implement it, because each of these places has their own peculiarity, whether they are all cult related, but there are peculiarities of terrain, there are peculiarities of locality, there are peculiarity of personality, there are peculiarity of the level of violence. For example, someone can be, mere beating can kill someone, gunshot can kill someone, knife can kill someone. Someone can also be poisoned. So if someone was poisoned here and someone was shot there, you just know it's two different scenarios you are attacking.
Yeah.
You understand? It's easier to catch the man with the weapon than to catch the man with poison. So you need two different tactics. Now, so that's what I want to advise. Then lastly on that, I'm a security relations consultant. We have been waiting for days where universities will call us as security relations consultants. Our job is to bridge the gap between the people and the authority, the policing. Now, we as consultants, of course, we will charge them when the need arises. We might also do it pro bono for them. But the point is, we have ideas. We can study the peculiarity of your school and give you security advice on your school and how it should be. Also help you with building that relationship with the authority, as well as helping you implement whatever relations has been built with your authority. Monitor it to a certain level, train, and help you organize the schooling system to be able to manage it themselves in the process of time. We can do all that to you. In fact, every university in Nigeria need to have a security consultant.
All right. Let me come in now. Talking about forming a community and relating with the police, how do you report to the police about police officers? Remember, we had an unfinished conversation last week where we were talking about how do we get erring police officers to face, the police, what do you call it, punitive measures, right? And we didn't complete it because we had a commercial cut us short last week, and that's how we knew you were going to give us numbers for the IGP monitoring. Was it the IGP monitoring? I can't remember now. But you also told me after that show that, there are cases where the police officers, go around and, people are carried. I remember one time, I know I remember that story. I was also carried one time. The police were driving around GRA. And it's Olo Passenger Police Station. I'll never forget that police station, Olo Passenger Police Station. And the boss carried me for loitering and wandering. I was on my way to the house. Anyways, how do we tackle such situations where, people are carried, asked to pay huge amounts of money as, their only option to be released, or, they might just face some heavy charge or something like that. How do we report such cases to the police when it involves police officers? Or is it on my way to the office, from where I was earlier today, just by the Oberikere NTA road, where police officers were seen, doing tithes and offerings, like I mentioned last week? How do we report these issues to police authorities and not get burnt? Can you advise us on the show?
Okay, first of all, I'd like you to know that to the best of my knowledge as a Nigerian, I know the police so far, except maybe I don't know, but the police is not a revenue generating
yeah, of course,
agency.
we all know that. It's not
they
a
are not a
revenue
revenue generating agency.
Yeah.
So there is no official way where the police can tell you, give me money. There is no official directive and approval that police has power to tell you, give me money for this crime.
Not
That's
even
very
bail.
wrong. Not even bail. In fact, bail is so free. Bail is freer than Nigerians think. Bail is not even a product of the Nigerian police. Bail is for courts. The only reason the police have rights to even grant bail for bailable offenses is because they have limited time to do investigation. But for them to properly gather evidence to take to the court, they need to have proper evidence, and the limited 24 to 48 hours might not be enough. So if that offense is not a murder or is not something like that, they reserve the right on their discretion to grant the suspect bail to a responsible, capable and credible individual who will be given certain conditions to provide this person on request. If they don't want to do that, if it is serious, they can get a court order. Oh, sorry, a court this thing. What do they call it?
There's a name for it, but they go to court. Yeah.
You understand me? And get a remand
order, yeah.
Now, that one, the person will now be remanded in the custody of the Nigerian correctional Nigerian prison. The person will now be remanded in
Nigerian correctional facility. That's what it's called.
Prison. So that is it. So that's the procedure. You understand? So it's not really like it's their job. No, it's the court that actually grants bail. And when the court grants you bail, they give you conditions for this bail. If you meet up those conditions, you go home. If you don't, you are remanded also. You understand me? The police only give those discretional bails and all of that based on the fact that they can't keep you excessively and they are still trying to reveal. And that's now. But the truth is this. A lot of Nigerians have had complaints about the bail. I have been approached on that. I even had a campaign in the state called Bail is Free Indeed campaign. I involved the then Commissioner of Police. I involved every police officers. We had video and we walked people on step by step. Now, I like to note this, that today I'm going to be very deep as a Nigerian to explain these things that I already know. Now, I'm sorry to say that I'm going to blame the Nigerian public a lot for the challenges we have with the authority. Last week, I don't know, you were talking of statement I told you off the book. And I remember telling you statement about how the issue of harassing young men came about. Off. You did remember that one? No?
That is related. I didn't want to, but it's related. Okay.
So that's the truth.
Yeah.
So I want to blame the public 75% of these things. Why? You see, ignorance is not accepted. You understand me? Now, Nigeria as a country has a constitution. The constitution says there shall be for the Nigerian people one Nigerian police force, a Nigerian police force, and stipulated their duties. Then they have an act. That act now further stipulates their activities and otherwise. Now, this act and this constitution are all online for Nigerians to download. Every Nigerian is supposed to have read the constitution. Or, better still, every Nigerian is supposed to have read the constitution, read the police act, and still have a lawyer. Now, how many Nigerians can say, I have a lawyer? None of them. Do you have a lawyer?
Of course, I have a lawyer.
No, not a lawyer. Do you have a lawyer on your retainership? Just the way you have health insurance.
Yeah.
It's the same way you're supposed to have a lawyer that you pay. Just the way you pay for HMO. It's the same way you're supposed to pay for lawyer on a compulsory basis, where the lawyer is just there retainership. Do you know why?
Tell me.
Now, Nigerians, don't see these things as important. Even the HMO is not important. It's just that companies are now doing it and making it. They don't see which day are they sick now. God forbid I'm not ever sick. Nigerians don't even write will. Tell Nigerian to write will now. I think who tell us I won't die? I know they die. Are you getting me? So Nigerians are very careless with knowledge and information. But they don't go for knowledge.
If the police were lazy me on the road, what can my lawyer do at that point?
I'm coming now. Now, it's the same thing we're saying. Before you were waylaid, like you said, it's where we are going. Before you were, as you say, extorted. It's what I'm telling you that will solve the problem. I'm telling you that Nigerians are careless with knowledge, and they are careless with knowledge, and they are very, very careless about these things, information and knowledge. You understand? A Nigerian man I have an issue, I call very dark man. Let him push it for me. You understand me? I don't want to, they don't want to die, but they want anybody that volunteers to die for them. They say, no worry, go move, they fund you, may die for us. But they don't want to do the pressure. They don't want to have information. They don't want to seek this knowledge. I realize so many times that whether you're a Christian or you are not a Christian, whatever you believe in, it takes knowledge, in-depth knowledge, and then understanding and implementation of that your belief to see results.
All right.
So you can see a lot of Christians, they are not having anything. They are still asking for, begging for money. It's not because God can't give them money. It's because there are knowledge that God has created for money. And those knowledge, you must know them, believe those knowledge, then implement those knowledge in your life. Definitely you will see the money. It's a normal standard. The same thing for if you belong to whatever society or whatever you do, good or bad. There is a knowledge that is required. That knowledge must be known, accepted, and implemented to see result. If you are a Nigerian, you need to know the Constitution. It's a compulsory knowledge you require. You must also know, believe that Constitution, and implement that Constitution. Now, this is how it affects you now. Number one,
I want to get to that.
People don't even know the full role of the Nigerian police force. I tell you, it's very funny. The role of the police is so funny that if you take time, read their act and read the Constitution, and they explain the role of the police, you realize that the police have so much influence and power, and that if they should use it, will shut down. That is one. Do you know the policeman on the road dealing with you? The law permits him, if you commit an offense, as the police officer on ground that has apprehended you, he reserves the right to prosecute you, to take you for prosecution, or to caution you and let you go. Now, when we make laws in Nigeria, we like going to borrow laws from the developed worlds that have capacity and mechanisms set in place to assist these laws. But here, we lack those mechanisms and instruments set in place to help us achieve the stand laws and ensure that people who are enforcing this law and implementing this law, they do it rightly, because we lack those capacities. But like you said now, Lagos are even building some of those international renowned way of enforcing these things, and it's happening. For example, they are trying to enforce, I don't know if they are enforcing this plate number one. If you go against traffic rule, nobody wants to chase you anymore. You'll see a bill later. They are trying to do all that. These things are possible. So we do not have those things to support these laws we make, but we want to make the law like the foreign government that is already developed and already have facility to do so. Now, we have the same laws similar to the American traffic law. So a police officer now, for example, for your offense, has the right to caution you or to prosecute you. You get me now? Now, this law has a loophole in the Nigerian setting. Like I told you, the system is not corrupt, but there are corrupt officers, of course, in every system, including this your organization where we are, Nigeria Info. You understand? Good. There are people who work for selfish reasons. You understand? Good.
Now, that's an allegation, but continue.
No problem. Every organization has people for interest. Right. You understand? Fine. Right. Now, based on that now, some of these police officers know that they have this privilege of cautioning you and letting you go or prosecuting you. So when they maybe see someone who has committed an offense, maybe carrying two in front per se, which is an offense, and then they get something from you, for example, they let you go. And then you now, they let you there, they refuse to let you go. They say, park, but your papers are complete, and in fact, everything the road expects of you is good. And then they tell you, park there. Sometimes they want to be in possession of your key. Sometimes they don't want you to move. And you can't just run on them now, his mother. So you are angry, you are furious because you know you have your right to be on the road. You know your right? Good. But where your right stops, someone else's right continues. Now, you say, even that man that I saw carrying 2 in front, which is against the standard, you let him go. When you get to the station, that's not what he will tell whoever is going to talk to him. He's going to tell the person that the man was carrying 2 in front. So he decided to caution the man and let him go. Now, what they will now be checking is, this thing he said, does he have the right to do it?
Is it in the law?
Yes. Then you are saying, he kept me there for 3 hours. Even up to now, I'm telling you, he refused to let me go. They will not check. Okay. Why did you keep him there? Do you know what he's going to tell them? He's going to tell them that as a trained police officer, on his suspicion, he reserves the right to take you to the station. I don't know if you're getting me. On his
suspicion.
You see that kind of
power.
Because
there's supposed to be reasonable.
You see that kind of power. Reasonable. Everything is reasonable.
I understand.
Hey. So now, let me establish this.
Let's come, because we don't have enough time.
Public. Even if this is the only thing they learn, it's good for them.
Okay.
So now he's going to tell them that it's because he has suspicions about you and he intends to investigate more, which he has 24 hours. You wait, they go waiting for Delta to come back that day. He knows that you will not be able to take it. So what I'm saying is that they have a plan B to defend themselves.
So what can we do?
And that good is the same knowledge. So you need to have this knowledge to counter these things. If you lack this knowledge, you can't counter this thing. Number one knowledge you need to know is that the law again says that you should support the police. The law again in the Police Act says that there shall be a police community relations committee.
Yeah.
It's your right to go and belong to the police community relations committee. It's lawful. Are you getting me? Now, when you belong to police community relations committee, your job description is there. So when the police stops you, you are going to tell them that I'm a member of police community relations committee. So he knows that you to that he knows somehow you know. Now, are you getting me? That's one. Then two again. If you know the law, you discover that I think section 24, subsection D and E of the 1999 Constitution as amended. I think I may not be able to quote it directly, but what it states there is that you should support the security agencies. That's what it says. I think the extent of support is what I don't know, but support is support. Support plenty. Can be money, can be cars, it can be with your money, it can be with your car, it can be with your information. But it says that you should support the security agency. So, what does that mean? That gives you a privilege to be part of them. You understand me? So, you as a citizen, one major thing you're supposed to do is, when you pack into any environment, visit the police around there. If you have not done it, do it now.
And become their friend.
Not just go anywhere you live in Nigeria. Visit the closest police station. You don't need to have a problem. When you go there, request to see the DPO. If they tell you why, tell them that you want to see him or her. If they say, tell them that you came to familiarize yourself with them, that you live in the environment, that there's something you want to discuss with them, they will allow you. When you meet the DPO, tell the DPO, my name is X so and so. I live in so and so place near here. I say, let me come and know the police here. It's good I know you because I live here. Let me exchange numbers with you. And if you can, support them if you can. If you cannot, you make that good relationship and you go. Tomorrow, if you are carried, you can call on that police DPO and say, right, look, I have been carried though. He will identify that this guy came to the station. He lives around here, please. He will be able to identify you. You will be able to sort out some of these issues with junior men on the road. That is one major thing. But for today, I think we'll just go ahead and give them
our time.
Contacts.
Before we get to the contacts, one last question. Extortion, where they look at young boys' phones. People like us that have this style of hair. They say, "Hey, come down, show me your phone. Where did you get this money from? Small boy like you, where did you buy this phone?" How do we tackle such
knowledge? What
kind of knowledge do I need to have?
Let me tell you why. People say the police are they are scared of lawyers or something. Police are not scared of lawyers. Police do a lot to lawyers, but police respect anybody who has knowledge. And lawyers are believed to have knowledge because all they did in school was study law, which is basically the Constitution and what guides it and its interpretation and others. So based on that, when the police is dealing with a lawyer, he knows that he's dealing with a man with knowledge. That's the difference between you and the lawyer is knowledge.
There's a message
so that
for
is
you.
That is how you handle. Why are you laughing?
The message is funny. Asetico A from Mile 3 says, I pray Nigeria doesn't happen to this your guest there. Is he aware that even if you succeed in giving the information to a CP, that information must be transcended to the DPO and down to the foot soldiers who will carry out these instructions, and from there anything can be made of that information? Theory is cheap, practical is different. Who no get money, no get right for Nigeria.
The truth is that when you give this information, you must not give with your name. It's not compulsory your name is given.
Okay.
But like I tell you, still under knowledge and under being careful in Nigeria. Do you know some Nigerians are so mischievous that they can go and report? We've had that case in Rumekini. Remember, Rumekin inside here, when there was a Inspector General of Police Special Tactical Squad, STS, they were around. A man was sleeping with someone's wife. And the person he was sleeping with, the wife, true life story, I can call the commander, came and opened his door, Rumekin here. And when he opened the door, he caught the man sleeping with his wife. And the man ran away from the house. And you know the man ran to? The man ran to STS, Special Tactical Squad. I said there is kidnap ongoing, they want to kill him, kidnappers, so they are still operating. The people with his anxiety and his look and the sweat and everything, then they were in this NTH Oba Road area. That's NTH Oba Road. Do you know these people came mobilized to face kidnappers in Rumekin here, only for them to get there, and they saw a man and his wife and they were about to take. They are like, geez, what is going on? He said, this man, I caught him sleeping with my wife here. She's still begging. They were shocked. So the point is, Nigerians can also bring fake information to undo somebody. So that is why the authorities are also very careful with you.
Let's get the numbers. Our time is up. Let's get the numbers that they can reach if they want to report, they want to relate with the police, pertaining to crime happening in the area.
I'm going to give you the number of the officer in charge of the Commissioner of Police Monitoring Unit in Rivers State.
So that's for officers who are erring, I guess.
Yes, she is a Chief Superintendent of Police, which means her next rank is an Assistant Commissioner of Police. She's an equivalent of a Lieutenant Colonel in the Army. You understand me? So you should know it's not a street officer. So she is in charge of the Commissioner of Police Monitoring Unit. Her job description include monitoring of police officers, their actions and activities. Most time, if they are arrested, they have to go through her sometime. And she also sends her men on the way. She has men.
You know what?
This is her number.
I'm going to pause you once again. I'm sorry. I have another commercial. When we come back from this commercial, we'll take the number. That's why I was trying to rush you so that we could but let's go for the commercial then.
The show continues after this break on Nigeria Info.